Hey, how we doing, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're going to be taking our very first look at the Kawasaki Vulcan S. Now let's take a little look at her, because I actually really like the look of these cruiser bikes, and believe it or not, this is the first time I've actually had a go on a cruiser bike. But in terms of looks, honestly, it looks really classy to me. Yeah, really lovely looking bike for a cruiser. Of course, it's not got the traditional V-twin engine. This is a parallel twin instead. But let's take a look at the way she sounds, shall we? It's got this Arrow exhaust here as well. This is the performance spec model. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to taking this bike out today for you guys. Let's have a little listen. Does sound like a cruiser, to be fair. All right. Yeah, this seating position is all new to me. But I could quite easily get used to this. Very, very lovely to sit in. I'm starting to understand what the hype is all about with these bikes. I've only had this bike out for a few minutes, but what a load of fun this is. Yeah, she has some torque as well. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. What an experience. Now, of course, I probably don't need to remind you guys that my first big motorcycle was a Kawasaki 650 parallel twin. It is pretty much the exact same engine that is in this. But the fact that they can tune these bikes to sound different and almost like feel different as well, kind of like the way the torque curve is set up. Still getting used to the ergonomics and the way this bike is meant to be ridden, but yeah, man, this is great fun. This is awesome. Now, the thing is, I'm trying not to let the whole, what's the word, kind of novelty factor affect this review too much, because yeah, this is my first go on a cruiser. But we are going to be discussing it honestly and from a rider's perspective, what this bike is like to ride. First impressions so far, really positive. Absolutely love it. The engine is nice and torquey, as you'd expect from a parallel twin. But yeah, in terms of, you know, leaning over and stuff like that, oh, blimey, that pothole wasn't too nice. So the suspension setup on this might be a little bit firm from stock. This is a brand new motorcycle, got 6 miles on the odometer. But yeah, what a load of fun this bike has been already for me. Absolutely awesome. This digi-display isn't too bad as well, and because this is the performance model, it's got this nice kind of screen here, which gives the display a little bit of shade, so you can see it a little bit easier. But it would be nice if it was a little bit brighter, maybe if it was backlit. I'm sure this has got a backlight, but you can't really see it on the brightest of days, but it's not too bad. It's not as bad as the Z400 that we had a go on last time, where yeah, in certain lighting conditions it was really dim. But yeah, what a fantastic experience this bike is so far, man. Honestly, absolutely brilliant. Awesome, absolutely awesome. Right, let's talk some specs, shall we? So, as I mentioned earlier, this is a 650 or 649cc parallel twin, which is putting out just over 60 horsepower, and it's putting out a little bit more torque. I think it's like 64, 65 newton meters of torque. And it is weighing in quite heavy, this bike, about 220 odd kilograms wet, which is heavy for a 650, but to be honest with you, as I'm riding it, it doesn't feel that heavy whatsoever. It feels nice. Gotta get used to that still, the foot position. Woo! Oh, she's got some guts, this bike, she really does. Considering that, yeah, these newer 650s now are producing less horsepower than my ER6 used to. I think they're producing a bit more torque than my ER6, but yeah, they are lacking a little bit of horsepower. But honestly, from memory, you don't really feel it. I mean, it's going to be mostly top end, isn't it? But these are street bikes, all right? This engine is for street use, really. This is where it's meant to be, and you're getting all that torque nice and low down in the rev range, which is exactly what you want. You want peak torque to be kind of less than 8,000 RPM or so, which is about right on this bike. So in terms of price wise, I think on the road you can get these for about 7 grand. 7 grand brand new on the road, which is a pretty good price. I mean, with the amount of bike that you're getting, and you're getting a proper cruiser experience here. I mean, as far as I'm aware, I can't really compare the experience to the likes of Harley Davidson or even the old Yamaha cruisers that they used to make, as I've not had the experience on those, but this feels proper. It really does. And apparently there's some adjustability on this bike as well. So if you're struggling to reach the foot pegs or something like that, apparently they are adjustable a couple of centimeters or so, which again is also fantastic. So if you're a little bit shorter, then yeah, they can adjust it so you can reach a little bit easier. But just the stock setup for me, this is actually quite nice. Still getting used to the fact that, yeah, I'm having to, it feels like the handlebars feel quite far away. It's almost like I'm sitting in a gaming chair and I've got my keyboard and my mouse. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's awesome, man. This is absolutely wicked. I'm loving it. We'll do a little 0 to 60 run in a moment here, but in terms of the power, 6th gear is a little bit lacking. I mean, we're at 3,000 RPM here and having to downshift a couple of gears. Yeah, 4,000 RPM isn't too great on the power. You haven't got a load of torque, but once you get past 5k RPM, that's when the torque really kicks in. You know what? I really like the sound of this bike. It's really funny because this bike does sound totally different to other 650s that Kawasaki are putting out. So the acoustics are, well, I mean, yeah. I personally really like them, but this is all personal preference. I like the sound of this bike. It does sound how a cruiser should sound, you know, that bubble fart or whatever, whatever it's called. But yeah, the pop bang. It does have, oh nice, thank you. They just they just decided to spray screen wash fluid on me. Nice, lovely. It does sound the way how it's supposed to, and I personally really like the sound of it. But the Ninja 650, the performance spec of the Ninja 650, you may prefer the sound of that. It does sound different. I've heard them both next to each other whilst I was at a dealership. By the way, massive thank you to Completely Motorbikes in Gloucester for letting me have a go on this awesome motorcycle. And if you're looking for a new bike, go ahead and hit them up. They've got dealerships all across the UK, and I'm sure they'll do you a good deal as well. But yeah, they gave me the chance to listen to both of them together, the Ninja 650 and of course the Vulcan S. They both have the exact same engine, but the exhausts are a little bit different. The exhaust setup are a little bit different. So you are going to get slightly different noises from each of the bikes, despite the fact that the engines are exactly the same. I'm not sure if they're tuned different, but the displacement is the same and performance is pretty much the same. Woo! This bike is wicked, man. I'm loving it. Yeah! Oh, I don't know, I might have to get myself a cruiser at some point. This is awesome, man. What a load of fun. Absolutely wicked. I mean, the thing is, these bikes aren't really designed to go fast. These aren't, you know, these aren't designed to be sporty motorcycles in any way. They're meant to have torque, which is nice, and they're meant to be comfortable. These are cruisers. You're meant to cruise on them, man. I get it, man. But it's nice, though, to have a little bit of that torque. That is lovely. And whether or not one of those Harley Davidson pushrod engines would enhance this experience, well, maybe one day I'll get to find out, hopefully. But absolutely awesome so far, and I've always been curious about getting on a cruiser, and I'm so happy that I've had this opportunity. And as soon as they mentioned it in the dealership, do you want to have a go on a Vulcan S? I was like, yes! I jumped straight at the opportunity. Because these bikes are wicked. And I've always liked the look of cruisers as well, even though I've never been brave enough to buy one. Maybe in my older years, maybe I can have a bit more of a serious look at one of these bikes. But even right now, I'm able to appreciate this ergonomic setup. It's really good. It's a little bit strange how I've got to tense my abs a little bit, so I can take a little bit of the weight off my hands when I'm on the throttle. There's not so much pressure on my fingers. Yeah, it's really interesting. But loving it, absolutely loving it. Right, well, let's go ahead and do a quick 0 to 60 run on this bike. Now, I don't know, 0 to 60, I'd expect this to be under 5 seconds, really. If the Ninja 400, if the Z400, oh, hang on, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. Clutch is giving me a little bit of jip, maybe because it's brand new. Just me, I got to get used to it. But yeah, I imagine this is going to be under 5 seconds, got to be, right? Alright, should have a little bit of room in a minute here. Yeah, this bike isn't going to have that top end horsepower, so I might have to upshift a little earlier than I normally would. But let's see, here we go. Alright, here we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So second gear can get you well past 60 mile an hour, not bad. Let's do one more, shall we? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So just at the top end of second gear can get you up to 60. Pretty sure that the Ninja 650 has a little bit more headroom in the RPM, so it'll probably get you there a little quicker, but that's not bad. And that torque that you get in first gear is lovely. Absolutely fantastic. Loving that torque in first gear. It's wicked. Man, I don't have any bad things to say about this bike. Yeah, this is great fun. What a bike, man. I'm a little bit worried that cruiser guys are going to be like, oh, that's not a proper cruiser. Get on a Harley or an Indian or something like that. But to be fair, for an entry-level cruiser bike, I mean, there aren't many Japanese manufacturers anymore that make cruiser bikes. I think it's just Honda and Kawasaki that do now, right? And Kawasaki have got their Eliminator 500 as well, which is basically a smaller version of this, but it doesn't have quite the same ergonomics as this one. It's a little bit more of a touring bike slash cafe racer kind of seating position. So a little bit different, the Eliminator, but yeah, if you wanted to get into cruisers, well, and you didn't want to spend a fortune as well, like you probably would do with a Harley Davidson, well, something like this, I think you'll have a lot of fun with. Honestly. It's either this or the Honda Rebel, right? That's pretty much all you've got. What an awesome experience, honestly. Absolutely fantastic. The seat is, oh, it's lovely, but I have heard that there are also modifications that you can get to the seat to make it just a little bit more comfortable, so it butts you up a little bit closer to the tank. Absolutely fantastic, man. Loving this. And not to mention, you're going to get that Kawasaki reliability. And right now, brand new Kawasaki bikes, at least with Completely Motorbikes, I'm not sure if it's at every dealership, but they're shipping with 4 years warranty, which is a killer deal. I don't think any other manufacturer right now are offering warranties that good on their bikes. So if you're worried about buying Kawasaki, well, hopefully that's another reason to buy Kawasaki. Just brilliant. I do hope in the near future to get on some Yamahas and hopefully some Suzukis as well, and even some Italian bikes. We'll see. Hopefully in the near future we can make that happen. But yeah, honestly, just brilliant. I mean, seating position is totally different to what I'm used to. So ergonomics wise, I have no other points of reference really, but for me, it's really comfortable. And I was a little bit concerned that my hands would start to get pins and needles in them a little bit, because of course you're having to reach, and if your hands have to go above your shoulders, then you might start losing blood in your extremities, and yeah, you might start getting pins and needles. But the way how this bike is set up right now, and I'm 5'9", 6 foot, 180 centimeters or so, it's been absolutely fine. We've been out for what, half an hour now? Yeah, no worries whatsoever so far. Just brilliant. What a brilliant all-round motorcycle. I mean, I'm finding myself shifting gears quite a lot on this bike. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I don't like to chug my bikes. I like to keep them above 4,000 RPM. Filtering, I'm not sure. I'm sure it's absolutely doable without much problem, but if you're not used to the ergonomics of one of these bikes, then it might be a little bit more difficult. Right, let's see what this bike's made of, shall we? It's not built for speed, this bike. Not the quickest thing in the world, but it gets up there, you know. It gets up there. If you wanted that top speed, I think this bike tops out at like 125 mile an hour or so, maybe 120. Not bad at all, at least for street use anyway. I doubt you're going to be track daying one of these bikes. I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? But yeah, perfectly fine. And these mirrors as well, absolutely fantastic. I thought they were a bit small, but actually they're situated perfectly, and you have quite a lot of vision behind you. Absolutely brilliant. Woo! Well, honestly, I'm really chuffed with this experience. I'm really happy with it. And if you're looking for a cruiser, an entry-level cruiser, I don't think you can go wrong with one of these, especially if you want those cruiser ergonomics. I think you're going to do all right with this, honestly. I mean, $7 grand, you can't go wrong with $7 grand. The performance spec is a little bit more expensive, but I can't remember off the top of my head what that is. But yeah, maybe the exhaust system will sound a little bit different on the standard model, but this performance model, absolutely fantastic, and this screen, I think it's doing wonders. It's lovely, absolutely brilliant. There are other mods that you can get, like bigger screens and stuff, but I've heard they're not so great. But just as this, just, you know, from the factory, performance spec model. See, I'm having to downshift here, you see. We're doing 50 mile an hour, you know. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. Well, whilst we're here, let's see if, I was going to say we can do some filtering, but traffic's moving. Been quite lucky today with the traffic, I think. Not been too bad at all. Woohoo! It's awesome. One thing we haven't spoken about is tech features. I'm absolutely certain it'll have ABS, but that is about it. There's no adjustment on the front forks. I can see there's probably adjustment on the rear shock, but what would be nice on this bike is cruise control. Know what I mean? Cruise control, I think, would be a fantastic option on this motorcycle, but not a lot of tech goodies. And I mean, I don't know, maybe cruiser bike riders aren't really into techie stuff. I don't know, but I think bringing cruiser bikes forward into a modern era, things like that, would be really interesting to have. Honestly, absolutely fantastic. Right, we'll pull over in a minute and we'll take one last look at this bike before we sign off. Whew. What a bike, man. Absolutely fantastic. Awesome. I was really excited to have a go on this bike, and I'm so glad I did. What a fantastic experience. Absolutely love it. Let's see the exhaust one last time. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Well, thank you ever so much, everyone, for joining me on today's ride. If you've enjoyed this review, go ahead, leave that like. Let me know what you think about this motorcycle down in the comment section below. As always, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss any of our reviews going forward. And we'll catch you all in the next video, everyone. Take care. Ride safe.